All right, so this is a good one. This is a real epic story. Once in a while, we get a really involved epic story that maybe about 5 of these stories are, they span decades, but they're great stories. So it actually took me a minute to figure out how I would even explain it because there's so much in it and it bounces around different times. Like it goes in the future and then it goes in the past and it happens in the present, and it's kind of like a Quentin Tarantino movie where he bounces all over the place. But anyway, here it is. I'll tell it the best I can, and I'm sure people will weigh in on this story because a lot of people heard it. Some of the guys were actually out when this happened. I wasn't around when any of this happened, but you'll get the gist of it. So people will weigh in, and I'm sure say different things about this story because there's so much in it that's, and every time I heard it, it was different. So what are you going to do? So anyway, here it is. We pull into Las Vegas and we drive by the Sands Hotel, and Maynard looks out at the Sands. We're in the bus, and he says, "Yeah, they saved my butt again." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" Because he would always do that. He'd pitch a little something. He would get me interested, and then I would ask him, and then the story would come out. So we had our little routine down by then. He knew how to bait me, and bait me he did. And it was all good baiting. So anyway, he says, "And they really saved my butt." I said, "Who saved your butt, boss? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, you want to hear a good one? Oh, that's a good one." All right. And then he proceeds to tell me this story. So now we got to stop, and we have to go back in the past. Maynard hung out with Timothy Leary. And Timothy Leary was doing, I'm cooking. Timothy Leary was doing experiments with LSD, and he taught at Harvard, and he wound up getting kicked out of Harvard. Just look up Timothy Leary, whole movement. Anyway, Millbrook, New York, they had this house where a lot of he lived, and artists, and Maynard was one of the musicians who lived there with the family, all this business. And what happened was they were doing these experiments. Harvard fired Timothy Leary. Then Timothy Leary continued his commune, out there in this place, Millbrook. And many people know much more about this time in Maynard's life than I do. I only hear it from stories. But anyway, they get busted. The whole place gets busted, and everybody has to wind up going to court. Maynard has to go to New York State Supreme Court for this trial with all these people. And I think like one of the people that one of the FBI agents that broke in and busted everybody, whether or not it was legal or illegal, I guess they weren't sure yet, but they were going to make a case about it. They didn't like Timothy Leary. They just sort of got everybody. And Maynard had to go to court, and Maynard was never an American citizen. Maynard was a Canadian citizen. So what happened was he's worried about going to court because if he's found guilty, he may lose his green card and not be able to play in the United States. And if you're a jazz musician and you can't play in the United States, it's over. So he's worried about this, okay? So he puts together this case. He has files. He has lawyers. He's putting together this big case. And the case is booked for a certain time. And what happens is Maynard shows up to play at Sands Hotel. Now, at the time when we drive in, now we're back in the bus. So we were staying at Circus, a different casino, but we happened to drive by the Sands. And this is what got this thing started, this story. So anyway, we're back in time. Maynard is worried about this court case. I guess this is 60s, 70s, I guess, somewhere around then. And before the court case comes up, he has to go play the Sands Casino. So he goes with his band, and his band is going to open for Tommy Sands. Tommy Sands is a vocalist who was married to Frank Sinatra's daughter. Tommy Sands is Frank Sinatra's son-in-law. So Maynard's band opens. Maynard's going to play his set. And the casino figures, instead of hiring a whole different band to back up Tommy Sands, let's have Maynard's band back up Tommy Sands. So Maynard's band will play their set, And then the band just stays there. Out comes Tommy Sands, and they'll back up him with Tommy Sands' music. It's a lot less hassle. So that's the plan. Now, Maynard winds up going to rehearsal. He's rehearsing the band, his part. The guys sound great. Guys are traveling. The band sounds great. You know, they all know the music. They've been on the road playing it. So then Maynard goes and he sits down while Tommy Sands comes out, and Tommy Sands has a musical director that comes out and conducts Maynard's band. This musical director knows Tommy Sands' music. So, and this was Maynard telling us the story. And they play the music, and Tommy Sands comes in like 2 measures early. So the musical director cuts off the band and says, Tommy, you messed up. Tommy goes, I don't think I messed up. No, he says, you messed up. There's an 8-measure introduction. You came in after 6 measures. Maynard's band, guys are just sitting there, listening. When the conductor and the act fight each other, musicians just kind of sit and check it out. They know that something's going to happen. And so what happens is they try it again, and it doesn't work. It doesn't. Tommy Sands comes in wrong again. So now, Tommy Sands is musical director they go back and forth. Tommy, you messed up. No, you messed up. You messed up. They start to yell at each other. Go, blah, blah, blah. They start screaming at each other. And Tommy Sands was wrong. But he didn't want to admit it. And the musical director was arguing back and forth. Musical director walks out. Tommy Sands walks away. Guys in the band are just sitting there like, uh-oh. Nothing to do. Guys in the band, they didn't do anything. So Maynard's just watching it. This guy comes up to Maynard and says, hey, Maynard, can you like conduct this thing for Tommy? Tommy, can you conduct this thing? And Maynard goes, well, Tommy was wrong. If I conduct it, Tommy's still going to be wrong. And the guy says, look, I don't know if I'm wrong or I don't know from any of this, but I'm the director, I'm the entertainment guy here. And he says, this cannot get back to Frank. They don't want the fact that Tommy Sands is upset. Get it back to Frank Sinatra, his father-in-law. So he goes, just get back to Frank. So Maynard goes, well, okay, I'll do it. I'll try. So Maynard goes up. Now Maynard's in front of his own band, and Tommy Sands comes out again. And the guys they're all like, it's like a brotherhood. They have their own. A band sort of has its own heartbeat and tendencies. It kind of moves like a school of fish. Once the guys get tight enough, everybody thinks kind of the same way, and you can kind of pick up. You can pick up when somebody's going to work a scam or somebody's going to try and act a certain way. It's just their radar gets better. So anyway, Maynard gets in front of his band. Tommy Sands comes out. They play Tommy Sands' music. Tommy Sands comes in wrong again, and Maynard turns to Willie Maiden. This is Maynard telling me this, because Willie Maiden, the band's road manager and Barry player, great arranger too. Maynard and Willie were like best friends, but it was a scam. It was like a bit these guys would do. Maynard looks at Willie Maiden and he says, Willie, now I see why Tommy's coming in wrong. I heard what you've been doing, and I'll get somebody new to fill in your position. We don't need you if you're going to mess that up again. I heard what you did. And everybody, Willie didn't do anything. But Willie would just do this. Like, if you look up Willie Maiden, you'll see this. Maynard said he could get a really good puppy dog face. Don't yell at me. So Willie would do this thing. And Tommy Sands is loving it. Tommy loves the fact that Maynard's yelling at somebody and it's not his fault. And Willie's playing it up. And so, Tommy Sands is telling Maynard, oh, no, you don't have to fire him, Maynard. And Maynard's like, I'll fire him. I'll get rid of him. I'll fire him. You can't get rid of him. The guy's a road manager. But Tommy Sands, he doesn't know that. So they act like they're going to fire Willie Maiden. Tommy's very happy. They come in again with the music, and Tommy's wrong again. But the guys in the band can kind of figure it out. Sometimes this music that's written for singers, there may be 8 measures of introduction, and then the real song starts. Well, if they come in wrong and the band's quick enough, they could tell where they're at, and they could make the adjustment, and that's exactly what they did. So when the band had made the adjustment, Tommy was still wrong, but Tommy thought Willie Maiden was wrong because Maynard was blaming him. Tommy was happy. Tommy thought this was great. Tommy's like, oh my God, this is great. I want Maynard to conduct. So now Maynard's there for 1 week. Tommy's there for 2 weeks. So this guy comes in and says, hey, Maynard, we want you here for 2 weeks. And Maynard's like, well, I can't because next week I have to go to New York State Supreme Court for this Timothy Leary thing in Millbrook. And the guy says, come with me. So Maynard said they go in the room, and there's a guy sitting behind a table with another guy. They're looking at some papers. He said, right out of the Godfather movie. And this guy walks in and he says, hey, Maynard's able to fix this thing with Tommy. Tommy loves Maynard. And the guy says, oh, great. And Maynard goes, well, I have to be in New York State Supreme Court next week. And the guy says, for what? And he kind of explains to him what's going on. He goes, hang on. Guy picks a phone up. And he makes a call. And Maynard told me the call went like this. He's on the phone. And the guy goes, hey, how are you? Yeah, good. Yeah. How's Shirley? And, oh, yeah? Good. Oh, yeah. And how, oh, yeah? Oh, he's in first grade. Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, good. Yeah. No names, except for whoever Shirley was. And Maynard's watching this phone call because Luca Brasi guy's right next to him. And this guy he walked in with, who's the entertainment guy, and this guy's on the phone. He says, look, I got Maynard Ferguson here. I need him here this week and next week. It's got something to do with this New York State Supreme Court thing. If we can, take care of that. He was okay. All right, good. All right, give my best to Shirley. All right, bye-bye. Hangs up the phone. Guy looks at Maynard. He goes, you're here for 2 weeks. It's good. And Maynard goes, well, wait, I have to go to court next. I have to go to court next week. The guy says, no, it's done. It's over. It's gone. Maynard says, what do you mean? It's like postponed or something? The guy goes, nah, done. Never happened. Gone. Done. It's over. Maynard's like, what do you mean it's over? I have boxes and boxes of, lawyer fees. And the guy said, it's done. Never happened. It's over. Maynard said, and so Maynard's still like, well, wait a minute. The guy said, no, wait, it's done. To go. You stay here. Your kids can run around the floor because where the gambling is, you're not allowed to have kids. But Maynard said his kids could, they were so grateful that Maynard was going to make Tommy happy. This guy made a phone call, and all that stuff went away. And Maynard says, well, are we going to do it again? The guy says, listen, it never happened. Go. Well, Maynard says, well, who'd you talk to? He goes, don't worry about who I talked to. He says, well, who are you? Don't worry about who I am. And Maynard goes, all right. So he leaves. Over. Done. Never happened. All went away. Oh, God, what a great story. And it happened at the Sands. So that's why when we went by the Sands, he would say, those guys, they really helped me out. That was like what a great story. You could just see that. You could just make it, you could make it your own little movie, But that was it. He said, when you played for those guys, like the mob guys, when you played for them, they paid you cash. They made sure you were fed. They understood what entertainment was and how valuable it was, and they made sure that people had a good time and all of that. But they wanted that problem to go away. Whoever this guy was, made a phone call to whoever, and the guys are trying to figure out who was Shirley. If you called somebody that important, Shirley Chisholm, her husband was a congressperson and could have been her husband. I mean, who was politically strong enough who had a wife named Shirley? We were trying to figure it out, and we don't know. And every time he told the story, it was a little different. And one time I wrote this story up and I posted it, and people had other information about this story. So I'm sure if anybody takes the time to listen to this epic, somebody may respond about some info being different, because it was always different, but it was a great story. Maybe because you could just visualize the whole thing. Some guy behind the desk. It's over. Don't worry about it. Well, is it going to be a change? It's done. It's over. It went like this. Done. Don't worry about it. It's done. Never happened. Where are those guys now? Woo, I could use them.